You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here's your KLSU Sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I'm your host, Andre Champagne, and today we have the whole crew here, guys. We've got the OGs, Jayden Smith here. We got Michael Poggi. I tried coming up with adjectives for you guys last night. I said joyous Jayden and then persistent Poggi. Those were, honestly, Poggi, I was trying to find another P for you, but there wasn't any, like, great ones.
Push and Poge.
Push and Poge, baby.
Oh,
okay.
That's off the dome, too. You know what I mean? That's off the dome.
For sure. But, I mean, we also have our guy right here behind the scenes. We got William Gilreath producing this week. You can say what's up.
Hello.
They might hear us in the background. As you can see, this is a little new.
Things
setup.
look a little different.
Things look a little different.
Yeah, it's a little empty in here.
It is. It's empty.
We gonna get it filled.
It
up
feels naked
soon.
in here.
We
but
gonna get it filled.
Y'all ain't
up
seen nothing
soon.
yet.
yeah,
Trust me.
just wait. The aesthetic's coming. But how are you? How you guys doing today, man?
Man, it's a magical Monday.
It is. Hey.
It's been a while since I said that.
We're
man.
so back.
First one of 2025. So
Yeah, man.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm happy to be here. You know, it's
we're
fun
happy you're
little
here.
Fun little new setup. You know, this is big upgrades.
And
This is
shout
good.
out.
Yeah.
We're giving the
Big
shout outs
shout out.
already. Shout out John Frisha.
John
to Frisha.
Frisha, man.
Shout out Frisha.
John
A little Frishalicious.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He
Feels
hates
we
when I
got,
say
like,
that.
You know,
but
new toys. Oh,
yeah, we got
it's
the
like
new
Christmas.
toys. It really was. But it's a big week. If y'all
It
didn't
is.
know, it's Super Bowl week. And just an hour down the road, folks are getting
Big
ready.
Easy.
Exactly. The big game and the big easy. So today we're going to talk about that matchup as the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles square off in a Super Bowl 57 rematch. Man, I always say Philadelphia, and it sounds wrong. Like I want to say Philadelphia. I don't know why, but I just wanted to say that to you guys. But now that we've had some time to process these two teams meeting, obviously we had a few days where we were a little sad about this matchup. But do you think it's going to be an exciting game?
Absolutely. I think when you take a step back and remove your dislikeness for either of the teams, or players or whatever it may be, I think it's easy to look at these rosters top to bottom, look at the way that they've performed throughout this entire season and recognize that these are probably the two best teams, just quote unquote. So, yeah, it's not a favorable matchup that you'd want to see, but at the very least, you can expect a really good game out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, anytime those boys in red go on the field, you just know that you're gonna.
It's business, man.
It's gonna be a good game, and no matter who they're playing, like they're just you're gonna see something good, and then you get the Eagles coming out. It's gonna be a close game. I think we all think it's gonna be a close game, but I think it's gonna be really high scoring, and that's what I'm really excited for, and that's what I want to see. So
I love that take. And yeah, like initially I was mad, man, because what could have been, obviously, the Bills. We could have had Jayden Daniels, first rookie to start in a Super Bowl, but I moved past that, right? Like you've got still some great stories with the Chiefs and the Eagles being in here. The Chiefs could be the first team to ever win 3 Super Bowls in a row, right? Like that's crazy to think about. Like we are living in that time right now, man.
Yeah.
It like no matter how much I hate the Chiefs, or you got to respect that, man.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even see 3 Super Bowls in a row with Brady and Belichick, man.
Yeah.
That's special. But also on the Eagles side, like seeing Saquon, after being in so many years of the rough of the Giants, now he's got a chance to win a Super Bowl on his birthday. So it's pretty cool. But I want to ask all of y'all, like, what's your favorite part of the Super Bowl? Like, let's get into a little fun questions before we get into the actual matchup.
I mean, besides the actual game,
Yeah.
I guess it's probably,
We're all going to say the same thing.
I don't know. It's a toss-up between the commercials and the halftime show.
Okay.
I just like moments that have all of social media talking at once. It feels like, you're a part of history. When things like that are happening, like, that's it for me at least.
What's your best commercial? I mean, I didn't have this in the notes, but what do y'all...
One, I don't know the best commercial, but one that comes to mind. I'll tell you what. Do y'all remember the commercial? I think it was like y'all remember Play 60.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It was like a Doritos commercial, and like the kid, like it was something with Cam Newton. He
I
like
know,
ate a
yeah.
Dorito.
Oh, I know what you're talking
he like
about.
turned into Cam Newton or something like that. Like
I remember that
And
too.
they
Yeah,
did the-
yeah, that's
That
one
was
that
a
comes
really
to
cool,
mind.
yeah.
The Tubi commercial last year was crazy. Like
bro, the QR code one.
yeah, the QR
That
code
one was
Yeah,
crazy.
I think my favorite was probably the I think it was that NFL 100 one when they had all the guys in there, like
Yeah.
Todd Gurley running in there. Jay
Yeah.
Wright, like,
Oh, yeah,
like
that was
all
sick,
those
dude.
players,
That was sick.
fumble,
Yeah.
get jumped
And the
on
ice sculpture gets,
I
like
think that
completely
was-
messed up.
That was my favorite.
But what's your favorite part of the Super Bowl, Poach?
I mean, obviously the game,
Yeah.
but
Besides the game.
I think just like the hype around it is
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's that lead up,
it's
bro.
second to
It's
none.
that lead up.
It's an American
it really
tradition.
is. It's
Yeah.
second to none. But I love those like those pressers that they have, like the 2 days, the 3 days before the game
Yeah.
or whatever. And I don't know if y'all. I used to watch Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
And Guillermo was the
Yeah.
guy on Jimmy Kimmel, and he used to go and ask these guys like questions,
Stupid questions.
like the most ridiculous questions you could think of.
Yeah.
And I always found that fun.
Like
So-
LeBron hates that guy.
Yeah.
I think he finally got to meet him.
Yeah, I think so. Same thing with Curry. I think Curry actually likes him though.
Yeah.
I'd say, man, the halftime show, bro. Like the halftime show is always so fun because there's
I'm
always a
boycotting
question.
this year, man. I'm boycotting this year. Should be Wheezy.
It should be,
Wheezy.
yes, bro. It should be. But look, Kendrick just won 2 Grammys last night.
Oh no. He won 5.
He won 5.
I think he won 2 at the point where you
the
stopped
2
counting.
biggest ones, though.
Yeah,
he won record of the
He
year.
was in like 5
And Song of the
categories
Year, yeah.
and won all 5 awards.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, there you go. And that's the guy. Your Super Bowl. Hey, it's lining up, man. I'd say, man, the halftime show it's so fun. It's always fun to see what's the first song gonna be. Who's the
Yeah.
special guest? Now we know SZA's gonna be there, but they might have another one. It's like it's always fun to see. So I guess what Gator first before I go on to that halftime performance question. What color is the Gatorade color gonna be? I got yellow.
I
or
said
green.
orange.
I'm gonna go purple.
That's a big
and
yeah.
my other now that we're talking about it, my other favorite thing about it all is for my bettors out there, the national anthem. Seeing how
Is
long
it Lauren Daigle or John Baptiste? Not Baptiste.
to be
no
honest, I
idea.
have no idea who's singing it. I'm talking
one of
about
those.
how long it's gonna go.
yeah.
Over the under.
But who
That's
sings it
super
matters
fun.
because you had Chris
Yeah,
Stapleton,
yeah, that's true.
who
Yeah,
sang
that's
it
true.
really, really slowly.
Yeah.
And they took that to account on the odds. So, we got purple, orange, and yellow. Will, what do you think? He's got blue, so we all have different colors.
I love that. I love that out of us.
But,
Well done,
but
fellas.
shifting to that Kendrick Lamar performance, what's going to be his opening song? Now, this one's kind of hard. I might have to pull out the phone for this one. It's never going to be his biggest. So
Right.
you can
It's-
rule
You
not
don't-
like us
You don't
out.
think it's gonna
and
be
that's
that?
not even
You don't think?
I don't think it's going to be DNA.
They kind of like ease the performance out there.
Yeah, but it's Kendrick.
It is.
And
I don't know.
And you
No,
know he's gonna
bro,
go
but
out
that's
there.
the thing. If Usher would have performed his best one right away, like, he would have lost the crowd.
Yeah.
Right. You have to make them like wait for
Exactly.
it almost.
Like, what do you... I think,
I think
honestly...
he's gonna start out with a very like mellow song that's quiet. It's gonna be dark, and then
You
you're
think?
gonna hear this big explosion.
Dude,
and
I think it'll be a newer song. I think it's going to
I
be...
think it's gonna be new too. I think
I think it could be TV off. I think it could be...
You know what?
it could be... And it's not going to be the ones with SZA off the rip. I don't think so, at least, because they're going to work SZA into it.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for those songs because she's
Okay.
awesome.
My prediction, like what I've learned over this past like year, Kendrick Lamar, he is a very hard person to predict. And I think he's gonna throw us a curveball, and I'm willing to bet money on this. I think his first song is gonna be something that hasn't released yet. I think he's gonna go
Ooh,
perform
okay.
something, and then he's gonna, because he already like teases people anyway, because he
That's facts.
barely ever releases music.
But
So
why would he do that though? Like people won't know what that is right away.
it's Kendrick though. Remember he did it in the Not Like Us video. The preview to that video is the snippet of Squabble Up, which he dropped
True.
on GNX. So
Woke up.
I
yeah.
could definitely see him pulling a move like that. Some cool song that, I like that. What's that? Just to
Yeah.
keep people further. And he's already getting ready to go on tour as well. So, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Poggi.
I think he's just gonna go out there and just not like us right off the
Really?
bat.
Off the
I really think he's gonna off
There's-
the rip.
Straight off. You have any ideas?
I hope it's backseat freestyle.
Backseat freestyle would be crazy.
I can hear it. I can see that.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Dude, you're trying to tell me you cannot see him
Starting
popping
off
out
with
the-
Not Like
popping
Us.
out the stage and just
Kendrick's
I could
a
see-
showman.
I don't
could
want
see-
him to, though.
I could see TV off too. I could
TV
see him
off?
doing
'Cause,
TV
like,
off.
They better turn this TV on to watch TV off.
Bro,
I don't know.
all right.
Sorry, I'm being corny, but let's talk about some real football, right? Kansas City's offense seemed to do the things they've needed to do to get them, to this point, especially in the playoffs. What does that Kansas City offense have to make sure is effective against this Eagles defense?
You got to get the ball out quick. I know they already specialize in that, but this Eagles, that pass rush is deadly, man. And they keep throwing bodies at you. Like we were talking about this on the Sunday show. It's just like waves. It just never stops coming. So I think the key to being able to move the ball down the field is getting the ball out quickly. You saw that with Jayden Daniels, how quickly he was able to get the ball out. Yeah, like you're going to have to take a lot of those shorter plays and really eat up the entire field. But I think that's your best bet. And then on top of that, like you have the best play extender, playmaker in football in
Got
Patrick
15,
Mahomes.
man.
Yeah.
If not the best ever.
Yeah.
to do that.
True, like,
It's
bar
that-
none.
Like,
if he wins this one, that's a real question.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that's
No, I'm saying like he might be the best
might be
extender right now, like ever. Like
yeah.
extending a play,
Yeah, like
stuff,
playmaker, yeah.
keeping it going. Like he might be number one in that category
For sure.
But I think that's what it comes down to. He's got to be himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's got to be It's just got to be Patrick Mahomes. But man, if they're able to get the run game involved, as well as because like you said, getting that ball out quick. But that's what Patrick Mahomes that's
Right.
what he does. So if they're able to get that run game going, man, there's gonna be a lot of points.
barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken. A lot of points.
Yeah. I have that, like, making sure 15 stays clean. That's simple. Like,
Yeah.
if they can limit the sacks, they're going to find ways to make plays. Like Mike just said, man, best playmaker, like extender ever. I also think they have, kind of like he said again, they have to have somewhat of a run game with Pacheco back, but they can't really rely on throwing the ball 45 to 50 times in this one with that Eagles secondary. But Pat, we just talked about him, man. He's a quarterback that can obviously improvise. You just said it. He's a quarterback, probably the best quarterback that gets it out really quickly. You saw that against the Bills a lot. How do the Eagles go about containing those playmaking abilities and making sure that they can get to him before he goes and does something crazy?
I think they got to be, again, like on the flip side of it, they have to be disruptive at the line.
Yeah.
I think if the Eagles can come out in that first quarter and get 1, maybe 2 sacks, I think that's going to tell us a lot about where that game is headed. The Eagles are able to dominate so many teams because they take the offense out of the ball game before they're able to even set anything up.
Yeah.
And what better way to do that than with your pass rush?
Yeah, I mean, good luck. Like I don't know. Like I don't know how you can do it. You know what I mean? Like
it's true.
That's not
For a full game, you can do it. You just can't do it for a full
I
game.
just don't know how to stop this man, bro. Like I seriously,
No one does, bro.
I seriously just like that's what I'm saying though. Like I don't know what to tell the Eagles. Like I don't know how to go about containing him because as soon as you think he's contained, he's
not
an inch off the ground throwing a pass in the end zone to a wide open player. Like you know what I mean? It's like he does these things that are just so unbelievable that as a defense, you know that you've got your work cut out for you. So limit it to
Yeah.
the best way you can possibly. I don't really know how to limit it, but
Find a way, baby.
find a way. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I think like the Eagles, they have to find ways to like disguise a lot of coverages. Because sometimes Patrick will throw, a ball into double coverage, not knowing that guy's near him, right? Like if it's a linebacker that drops back and shows that he's blitzing. So I say just like try and hide everything to where he can, he can't pick those blitzes apart that he's seen so many times in this league, and just finding ways to get them. Whether that's a delayed blitz, or just a D line being dominant, which is going to be big for the Eagles in this game. But which part of the Chiefs offense, do you think the Eagles need to kind of eye out, on stopping? I guess just kind of focusing more on, making sure those big chunk plays don't come from.
I would say passes across the middle.
Yeah, man.
Like Travis Kelce is just
Now Hollywood.
He just has a way of demoralizing you. Like I swear, he just spawns wide open and nobody's near him. I think you have to really make sure that doesn't happen. You can't have a man that's past his prime, possibly maybe even hanging up the cleats after this one. Like you can't have him beating you with these big chunk plays. And same thing goes for those Juju Smith-Schusters. I think the people that you aren't looking at to be playmakers, you have to make sure that they're not playmakers. And the Chiefs are the best at that. They kind of remind me of the Patriots in ways. Like guys that aren't supposed to be making these big plays end up making these big plays, and that's what costs you in the end. It's not even the guys that you were necessarily circling and worried about.
I think it's also those curls, those short curl routes, those short drag routes. Of course, those ones up the middle. But for for the Eagles players, like man, you know that they're gonna try and get that ball off quick. They're gonna find Kelce short on a curl or something like that.
Screen or something.
Yeah,
man.
some little screen. So what you have to do is limit it right there. Get to them quickly. Get to them when they get the ball in their hands. Don't let them turn a 2-yard play, 3-yard play into a 10, 12-yard play.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're really good at. So if you're able to limit that even just a little bit, you've got an edge on that defensive side.
Yeah, and I said like specifically, and it really like what Jay said was honestly like I just kind of learned like yes, they're so good over the middle, but I said like Travis Kelce in open space. I don't know why teams haven't been able to stop him. Like he just like looks like he's running in slow mo, but nobody can catch him. Like
he
it's
just
weird.
runs and he just. All right here is good, and he just stops, and he's wide open.
And so I just have tracking him down specifically and being physical with him because, those Eagles corners and safeties, they're some little dudes. They really are. Like, there's not really a big guy. Now, you could put a linebacker on him, but you don't want to do that. Like, he's going to burn you.
Yeah.
So I have just be physical and know where he is at all times on the field. But what do you expect in this matchup between that great pass rush for the Eagles and, honestly, a Chiefs offensive line that has been really successful in keeping Pat clean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, the meme where it says, like, an unstoppable force versus an unmovable object.
Yeah.
I think that's what's about to happen.
Or coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb.
Baby versus hydro bomb. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I think these are probably the two best offense and defensive units in this entire league. So, I mean, I guess we're about to find out. They say defense wins championships, so.
And they've done it the past 2 years.
They've done it.
It hasn't been that
And
offense.
I also will say, I think that was a big part in the Chiefs losing the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers. Getting to Pat Mahomes quickly, not letting him sit comfortably in that pocket. Flushing him is not the same as flushing every other quarterback, but you have to make him as uncomfortable as possible. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's going to be an amazing battle to watch. Those
could be the one that matters the most.
Yeah, that could be the one that decides it right there. Because if the Eagles do get that pressure where they need it to be, if they're able to get to 15, man,
it's a different ballgame.
It's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
Like, hold it. Like, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're kind of sitting there like, all right, like
a little scared. Yeah.
little scared. Yeah.
And I legit think the Eagles win this game if they do get to them. Like, I really do believe that, or at least stop the run. Like, if you make them one-dimensional to the point where, because your corners and your defensive secondary, they're good enough, but
Right.
you got to get to them because he's gonna run all over the place and he's gonna find a way to get a guy open.
Yeah.
Let's not forget who's on that other side, though. Spags and that entire Chiefs defense.
That's true.
They're gonna be able to.
And we'll talk
go out
about
there
them.
and make
yeah.
some plays too.
But I expect the Chiefs to be able to counter that pass attack for the most part. You know, the Bills and the Eagles, they were like comparison. Like, I don't know. They were kind of alike. That's what I meant to say. They're similar in the ways of their pass attack, but they're bigger guys. So that's what I'm more interested to see is, after all this time, can KC still recognize the blitz? And I think they will be. But who's a player, X factor on the Chiefs on Sunday? Offense.
15.
Yeah, that's
mean,
you want to say the
That's a safe bet.
safe one.
I mean, just to be different, I guess I'll say Pacheco.
Yeah.
I think them opening up that run game could be crucial to them.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of those short yardage plays that which we talked about, and making those turn into bigger chunk plays down the stretch of the field. So yeah.
I'll be fun. I'll say Juju.
I like that pick, though. I
I'll say
like that.
Juju. I think
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. Those plays over the middle, those chunk plays, they really rely on him.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get a couple of those,
Yeah.
you can. I mean,
That's true, man.
Yeah.
Speed kills, too.
yeah.
I have Travis Kelce. Like I said, I don't know who's going to end up covering that guy.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to end up double teaming, which is going to free up a guy like.
We haven't even said
like
Xavier
Juju.
Worthy.
We haven't seen. Yeah, we haven't seen
Yeah.
said him or Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. I
Speedsters.
forgot about Hollywood.
Hollywood Brown had
Well,
that
he
like
just came
70-yard
back,
touchdown against
Yeah.
the Bills. But who's a player in the Eagles defense that has to cause havoc against that Chiefs offense?
I'm gonna say C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yep.
I think, and not just even with playing. Like
Get in their heads.
he's gonna have to like keep his
He's
head.
gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
He has to keep his head. Like,
Yeah.
you're already facing a juggernaut. The last thing you can afford is cheap penalties, that you don't account for. And the same thing with Jalen Carter on the line. Like, two tremendous players, but
Penalties.
penalties. Like, and they get bailed out a lot because they're typically just better than the other teams. But this is one team, like, you don't want to play that type of game with.
It's true.
Yeah.
Especially when you already feel like you might be coming in with a little bit of a disadvantage.
Right.
But
Yeah,
Impose.
I mean, I'm gonna stay in that kind of area. I'm gonna go with Cooper DeJean.
okay.
I want to see him make a play. I want to see a pick.
Yeah.
I want to see something like
He's-
that. Man, he's been great all year, and this is his time. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no bigger
Rookie.
stage,
A rookie,
no bigger
bro.
stage. Rookie, Pat Mahomes is going to attack him. Like, he's going to go to his side. So
Yeah. No, I agree.
step up.
And he's a fast guy. So I like his matchup. Like, I love C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I really think he should probably get the slot. And because he is so fast, and I think same thing with DeJean. I don't know if he's going to play on the outside just because of he might. But I like his speed against Xavier Worthy. I'll say that. I think Darius Slay is a physical corner, more of a one-on-one
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say Reed Blankenship, that's safety. So we got the duo picked. He's a ball hawk, and I think he can help with covering some of those speedy guys and help coverage or whatever that may be. And so I'll say him. But let's move on to that Eagles offense versus this Chiefs defense, and this is where the most curiosity I would say
Yeah.
lies right now because
Yeah.
the Chiefs defense is as strong as ever. Obviously, Poge mentioned Steve Spagnuolo leading them to
Legend.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Legend.
And then another thing is they have a really young core in the DB room. We'll talk about that later. But Eagles obviously led by Saquon Barkley. And honestly, these past few years feel a little different because now they have that extra stuff, if that makes
Who,
sense.
the Eagles?
Yeah, like they have Saquon, and they didn't 2 Super Bowls ago, and that's kind of what I'm saying. This could be a different thing for them. So, first off, let's announce the elephant in the room. Eagles very hurt on the offensive line. Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens banged up. Both expected to play, though.
Of course.
But there's
course.
serious doubt that they're going to be at 100%. But how much do you think that affects the Eagles' offense Sunday against not only a dominant Chiefs defensive line, but also a Chiefs defense that loves to blitz constantly?
I mean, I think it affects you big time.
Yeah.
I think it could be a big issue for your offense to get anything rolling, because that defensive line is going to come at you strong.
Yep.
And they're not gonna let off easy either. They're gonna keep that foot on the gas. And they've done it all postseason, and they've done it all year. And the thing is like we said earlier, Spags is gonna come out with some sort of package, and then he's gonna come out with something different, and then he's gonna throw a blitz at you, and you're gonna not know what hit you. And that's just how the Chiefs play defense. And if you've got injuries up front, Jalen Hurts is going to have a lot of moving to do, because they're going to come.
And honestly, Jalen Hurts outside the pocket, he's nowhere near Patrick Mahomes outside the pocket. Like, he's just not. Yeah. That's just not the quarterback he is, in my opinion, at least. I don't think he's very good outside the pocket.
There's nothing wrong with it. Nobody else is. But
yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, I think this definitely could be a big issue. But I think the Eagles' offense is strong enough, good enough, just all around, to where it shouldn't be a nail in the coffin.
Right.
I don't think it should be that detrimental to how they're able to move the ball. But I definitely think that's going to make things a lot harder.
Yeah.
And also a lot more interesting.
Well, I think it gives Spagnuolo a little more range if that, comes into play. The Chiefs' defense, like Poach said, they love the blitz. And they do it often, and I think it hurts them with trying to defend that pass rush, and Chris Jones specifically. But like, let's say this Eagles team, they love to pull their guards. They love to do that when rushing the ball. So if they're limited to only doing a few more things and they can't pull those guards like they like to, it could be a long day for them. But it's weird because you don't know how healthy they are, and like you said, but knowing that those linemen aren't completely healthy, do you expect Spagnuolo to do more blitzing or drop more back into coverage because he's comfortable with where his line sits?
I think Spagnuolo is going to do. We'd be crazy to think he hasn't been already prepping his mind to go against his team.
He's licking
already.
his chops.
He's going to do the same thing he was going to do, whether they were 100% healthy or whether they just didn't play at all. I don't think them.
He's been prepping these guys for
I think
weeks.
it's he gonna do what he gonna do.
Like you just said, he said it perfectly. Whatever he's got playing, he's gonna go out there and do it. Man, they can do whatever they want. Like, after what I saw against the Bills, throwing that blitz out there, man, like, nobody else is doing that.
No, that was crazy.
Nobody else is doing that, and they did it, and it worked. And so I'm excited. I know, I'm excited.
And look, I think he's going to blitz. And you have to think about it, because you have to say, okay, going into this one, you have to keep that on the radar if you're Spags, because, like, if they're hurt, aggressive. Like, we're putting these guys on their butts. Like,
I mean, you got to be aggressive, like, regardless.
For sure, but that points out the weakness right away. Like, you have to try and attack that weakness. But I don't think he's going to have to do it as many times as you saw with Buffalo or Houston, and it's because of that hurt offensive line. I think they can trust that defensive line that's been so good in getting home. And then statistically, I think I saw a stat that said Jalen Hurts he had a career year against the blitz this year. He actually struggles more against the zone coverage. So I think Spags knows what he's going to do against this guy. But what does Jalen Hurts make sure he does right against this Chiefs defense?
Well, for one, like, Mike was making this defense sound scary. So you better be sure about your reads. Like, that's the first thing I'm going to say. Like, you need to be IDing mics, picking up blitzes, and that's another element that I think the Chiefs defense is going to try to bring. I think they're going to try to really bother Jalen Hurts and make him into more of a thrower of that football. Not that he can't do it, but I think your chances of winning are significantly higher if the Eagles' offense is more reliant on Jalen Hurts throwing the ball, as opposed to Saquon, just running all the way down the field with it.
It's true.
I think you're right. I mean, I just think he's got to keep his cool, keep his control, stay calm in the pocket, and then when pressure's coming, don't be afraid to get the ball out.
Yeah, and use your legs too.
Yeah,
man. Use
Yeah,
your
like
legs.
he's fast, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like use your legs.
And he's not he's not like a speedy Jayden Daniels, but like he's built
got-
to the point
yeah.
where he could take a hit or two.
Yeah.
Like
for
people
sure.
don't know that. That's what he did at Bama.
Yeah.
That's what he did at he lowered the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like lower your shoulder, man. This is a Super Bowl. You get a little hurt. Oh well, man.
And he's gonna, and
Like-
I think they all know that. I think, I mean,
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think he's gonna go out there and
I said turnover free.
That
I mean, like that
that's a big
feels
one.
like a given, but here's the situations where you absolutely cannot turn it
Yeah.
over. Red zone,
Not
you can't
not
do
even
it in
just
the
like
red zone.
interceptions and
Yeah.
turnovers on downs. Like you
Yes,
can't have that.
Like
either.
you can't do
have
that. Yeah, you got to take your points in a game like
Yeah.
this. Also, like it feels like you definitely can't turn it over on your side of the field, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Kansas City is a team where offensively they'll find ways to struggle, and their defense is going to keep them in it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you break that defense to the point where, like, you go ahead and you have to rely on that defense too much, it could become a problem, right? But I think Kansas City just feeds off those turnovers, like I said, especially offensively. Look at the Houston game, man. That offense did nothing until they start turning the ball over.
I think their defense is their offense.
It's true.
Their
It's true.
defense feeds that offense.
Starting big, man.
Because it just doesn't make sense. Like I watched a lot of Chiefs games this year, and they never looked like a 15-2
Yeah.
team. When I think of a team that's 15-2, I'm thinking of putting 30 points on the board consistently,
Right.
blowouts. I'm not thinking of 3-win victory, 6-point victory, 7-point victory. And they've been able to do that because of their defense. Like the defense creates the turnovers. They put Kansas City offense in the prime positions of the field to score.
Yep.
And after that, Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, they are way too seasoned to just let opportunities like that go to waste.
Yep. But I mean, which position matchup would you say is most important for the Chiefs defense against whether that may be DB versus DB, right? Like D lineman versus, what do you think it is?
Okay, I'll tell you one that interests me and one that I think is that most important. The one that interests me is McDuffie and A.J. Brown.
Yep.
And I think the one that is going to be the most important is that front line against Saquon. I saw a stat. I think the Chiefs haven't allowed a 100-yard playoff game rusher in 18 games? And Saquon has ran for 100 in
every playoff.
14 straight or something like
Yeah.
that. So just a clash of the Titans, man.
It
Like,
is.
Yeah.
It is. It's going to be a grind in the trenches.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excied for this D-line, O-line
Yeah.
to kind of go at it. Yeah, I'm both ways,
love
like
that,
both
yeah.
sides. I'm excited to see both sides of the ball,
Yep.
like each team's units, and I think that right there could tell the story of the game
For sure.
both ways. So
Like I'll be different. I said DB, just the DBs versus the wide receivers, just because I'm interested, to see you have so many young guys on that Chiefs secondary, right? And you still have veteran wide receivers, right? And A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I think a year ago, Devontae Smith went off against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. I think that's a guy no one is really talking about. I think he could be the X
he's
factor.
such a clutch receiver.
Clutch, right?
He could easily be a number one. He
Clutch,
just
dude.
Yeah.
unfortunately, AJ got not unfortunately, but he got traded to the Eagles, and then
He
Devontae
became
wasn't number one anymore.
For sure, but I think the Eagles need to find a third receiver.
Yeah.
Because, looking at the stats, they have Jahan Dotson hasn't really done much. He had a touchdown in trash time last week. I don't really count that. Or 2 weeks ago. And 7 yards in the playoffs. So that's what I have. Because you can bracket guys if you're only doing two guys.
Right,
Look
right.
at the Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors situation against Bama last year, and no third. Yeah, Kyron Lacey for like a quarter. But who's the player? Chiefs defense, X factor, huge impact. You see,
Chris Jones, man.
yeah, man,
You got to stop that run.
Yeah.
You stop that run,
good.
you're going to win this game. I promise you that.
Promise.
I promise.
Yep.
Chris, yeah, that's what he said.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah,
Well, that's what I'm saying too. I really have that. I could show you.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts has to you got to make sure he's contained in the pocket, and Chris Jones is a guy that's going to blow up a play from the start. So I have
he's so good.
He's so dominant.
He's so good.
over under how many times they have shown Chris Jones in a playoff game crying at
Oh
the
my
national
gosh.
anthem.
He does it every game.
He does it every game. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
bro, they did it.
And look, I'm sure producers are just like, look, is cameras on me, Will? They're just like, they're like that. But because look, that it's too easy.
Right, it's too easy. Yeah.
I got Chris Jones, but who's the player that has to find ways to be productive on offense for the Eagles?
For the Eagles?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's
Okay,
so
I'm tired of
many.
saying Saquon.
There's so many.
But it's got to be
up?
Smitty or AJ. Like, just, take your pick pretty much. I think AJ had 100 yards and a touchdown the last Super Bowl matchup.
Yep.
And they might be my favorite receiving duo just because they always consistently show up. Even if it's not shown in the stat sheet, like
Right.
they are probably the most dependable receivers that they don't drop passes, they don't do a whole bunch of complaining, like they can always win their routes. So yeah, I think it's gotta be either of these receivers. You gotta help your quarterback out.
I mean, how I said Juju for the Chiefs. I mean, AJ Brown can get those big chunk plays too, and those are really big things that they've used this entire postseason, has helped them throughout this this journey during the postseason. But I'm gonna go to Saquon just because if Saquon goes out there and has
A monster game.
has a game like he's had the last few games, going out there, touchdown right away, maybe 2 touchdowns in the first half. It's a ball
Yeah.
game that nobody really knows about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy, but he can do that. Like he can go out there and change a game. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see
Saquon,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I got Saquon, but specifically, he has to be useful in the pass game. And the Eagles are known to use him with all those screens, but they can't be so predictable. The Eagles love to send their offensive line downfield. Look, man, you got to find ways to be creative because Spags is going to read you like nothing. And this is going to be a good game where Saints fans, you can also watch how creative is Kellen Moore going to be. How aggressive is he against this Spags, offense? And you're going to see what you're going to get out of this guy for the next however many years. It should be very interesting. So, but I have Saquon. I think he could change the game. So I said send him down the field, wheel routes, wherever that is. He's going to beat a guy.
Yep.
He will beat a guy. Score predictions, baby. Super Bowl 59. Who y'all got winning?
I'll let you take this one first, Mike.
All right, Chiefs. So I got the Chiefs, and reason being is because you're not going to beat them until I've seen it. You're not beating them, man. Like
It's so funny. And this is why, because I have the exact same thing in my notes.
You're not gonna beat them. But my score, I'm gonna go 28-17 Chiefs.
Ooh, man, I hope it's not that bad, bro.
28-17 Chiefs. I don't think it's gonna be
That
very.
sounds like a comfortable win.
Yeah, no, it's
It's a calm little Super Bowl.
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I got.
Um,
Your turn.
Jay's more confident. I know it. He's more confident in the
Yeah.
Eagles.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually say 31-20.
31-20.
31-20. Because
Eagles?
Yeah, Eagles. And I think it's because no. Like,
all right. Yeah.
this is why I keep telling myself, they're the Chiefs, but I keep telling myself they are still human. Like any given Sunday. Like I guess I'm trying to psych myself out, but
Yeah.
come on, this has got to be it. I honestly
It's the moment, bro.
I wholeheartedly believe, like, roster top to bottom, the Eagles have the better roster.
They do.
No
but
doubt in my mind.
Not coaching-wise. I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
not coaching-wise.
They don't got that experience. I've got, like, for Mike's reasoning as well, man. Dude, they're going to be my pick until they prove me wrong. And I said the same thing. It's going to be close. I'll say it's a shootout, 37-34. I'm going Kansas City. This is not
that close.
I think Spags is going to, freak out in the first half, be okay in the second. They're going to find ways. Pat Mahomes is going to Disney World after the game. I don't know, man. And now we sound like we're covering a funeral. But any other things before we wrap up here?
I think Zach Bond's gonna have a big game too.
Zach Bond
for the Eagles. I think he's gonna have a big game.
Back in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. How can you hate Zach Bond?
William Gilreath has just said he hates Zach Bond.
I don't hate Zach Bond. I don't hate Zach Bond.
We didn't give him the playing time.
I know. I hate that.
I hate that Saints players become Super Bowl players. It's It's just, I mean, look at C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So, but that is going to do it for us here today on the Hodges Huddle. Big thank you to you guys. That was so bad, bro.
Oh, horrible. That was really
Michael
bad.
Poggi's joining us. Jayden Smith and our guy William Gilreath behind the cameras. So this has been the Hodges Huddle.